So welcome everybody and thank you for being here. My name is Brian Strum. I'm Chancellor of Rutgers Biomedical and Health Sciences, and we're here today to celebrate a very special day. Before we begin, I'd like to extend a welcome to a few of our special guests. Governor Phil Murphy, New Brunswick Senator Bob Smith, Speaker Craig Coughlin, Manuel Castaneda from the New Brunswick City Council, Commissioner Charles Kenny from Middlesex County, and New Brunswick Councilwoman Suzanne Socorro-Ludwig. I'd also like to acknowledge leadership here from Rutgers, President Jonathan Holloway, Amy Towers, Chair of the Board of Governors, and Gary Taffet, the Chair of our Health Affairs Committee. Okay. Today we come together to celebrate a milestone for Rutgers Health and for the state of New Jersey. We're here to recognize the tremendous achievement of securing a grant from the National Institutes of Health for over $47 million and growing, to be clear, as Rachel's telling me. This grant is known nationally as a Christmas tree you hang ornaments on. Once you get the parent grant, there are a bunch of different kinds of grants you can only get if you have the parent grant. So far it is $47.8 million, and with the expectation that it'll significantly grow more over time. And this is a grant to fund the New Jersey Alliance for Clinical and Translational Science, or NJACS. NJACS is a testament to Rutgers Health's unwavering commitment to improving health and well-being for all of our residents. The program is led by Rutgers in collaboration with our fellow academic powerhouses, Princeton University and NJIT, along with many other institutions from throughout the state, including our clinical partners at RWJ Barnabas Health and University Hospital in Newark. As many of you know, the NJACS grant is a Clinical and Translational Science Award from the NIH, known as the CTSA, which shows that New Jersey is in the big leagues of clinical and translational research. Before the integration of UMDNJ into Rutgers, despite the state being recognized as the medicine chest of the world, New Jersey had not ever had a CTSA, and in fact it had never even applied for a CTSA. While New York and Philadelphia had multiple such awards. Yet in the first decade after the merger between Rutgers and UMDNJ and the founding of Rutgers Health alone has brought in over $4 billion in extramural funding into the state. This past fiscal year alone, Rutgers secured nearly $1 billion in research awards, nearly over half of which was from Rutgers Health. Today we celebrate another remarkable milestone. Not only were we awarded a CTSA of $29 million in 2019, we've now successfully received another with an award amount nearly double the original. This achievement highlights our commitment to advancing clinical and translational research and underscores the power of collaboration among our institutions. In the future, much of the grant's research will take place at the new Rutgers Health Building at the Helix in New Brunswick, and you see pictures over there, and you'll see pictures in the slides of the new Rutgers Health Building at the Helix, where over 80 translational researchers will work, importantly, alongside our principal teaching hospital in New Brunswick. This deliberate proximity allows us to turn discoveries into real treatments that can improve the lives of our patients. And what does this grant truly mean for the people of New Jersey? It means we have a powerful opportunity to address and mitigate health disparities, ensuring that our scientific advancements lead to tangible health solutions that are aimed at improving overall health. Through NJACS, we are already supporting over 300 investigators and partnering with more than 200 community-based organizations. And again, we'll hear more about each of these through this event. These collaborations help us ensure that the solutions we develop are not only innovative, but also practical and impactful. Whether it's studying childhood asthma, preventing maternal mortality, tackling opioid overdoses, or addressing environmental toxins, the work being done under this grant is designed to make a difference in the everyday health of our communities. By engaging with patients, local organizations, and stakeholders in this work, we make sure that our research is grounded in the real needs of New Jerseyans, and that is how we make meaningful change. I want to extend my sincere thanks to everyone for your hard work and dedication in making this grant possible. A heartfelt thank you goes out to our partners at RWJ Barnabas Health, Princeton University, the New Jersey Institute of Technology, and all of our partners for their invaluable collaboration. We're also grateful to our legislators, our friends at DevCo, Hinge, and other industry partners for their continued support. Most importantly, I want to express my sincere appreciation to those who make it happen our dedicated researchers and community partners who are driving this transformative work. Thank you. It's now my honor to introduce Rutgers University's president, Dr. Jonathan Holloway. Under his visionary leadership, Rutgers has solidified its position as the largest federally funded research institution in New Jersey, responsible for half of the state's funded research and 75% of the state's NIH funding. President Holloway's unwavering support has been instrumental in helping us secure this $47 million plus, I'll leave the reasons I said before, I'll leave the plus open, a grant for NJAPS. His commitment to advancing Rutgers Health's mission has empowered us to take bold steps forward, and we're deeply grateful for his leadership. Please join me in welcoming President Jonathan Holloway.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Brian. We take enormous pride in the gains that Rutgers has been making in the national rankings, and we often talk in terms of the world-class education we provide to a richly diverse student population. But we're just as proud of our emergence as a research powerhouse, and this major grant is at the same time a reflection of that research strength and a contributor to an even stronger Rutgers. It provides an outstanding opportunity for us to foster new research and innovation in the state of New Jersey and to position Rutgers as one of the leading clinical and translational science award institutions in the nation, of which there are about 60. We're already the only CTSA in the state, and we strive to be one of the best in America. Now, thanks to an outstanding faculty and the support of our partners in the state and federal government, Rutgers has been an outstanding public research university for a long time. But in the past several years, particularly as Rutgers Health has become such a robust engine of clinical research and innovation, we've made significant strides in research productivity. Since the integration of the biomedical schools into Rutgers a decade ago, Rutgers Health has brought more than $4 billion in extramural funding into the state for the good of our research and the benefit of the patients we serve. Over the past fiscal year alone, Rutgers has secured some $970 million in research awards, with more than half of that total going to Rutgers Health. Indeed, we are knocking on the door of the $1 billion club, the elite among research universities in the nation. Next year we'll kick the door. And that activity, just gotta say it, and that activity signals not only to our partners in New Jersey industry, but also to the world that New Jersey is truly in the big leagues of academic clinical research. We're excited to be receiving this substantial and transformative grant, not only for what it will mean for our translational science leadership going forward, but also for what it says about how well we invested in the grant, how well we invested the grant we received from NIH 5 years ago. I know we'll hear from Ray Panettiere and Shauna Hudson about the grant and the work in a bit, but I just want to thank them for their leadership and congratulate everyone who contributed to earning this new grant. Round of applause, please. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce someone who has done so much throughout his tenure to promote, support, and champion Rutgers. He has demonstrated his belief in Rutgers through his consistent investments in the university throughout his tenure. He's enhanced our excellence through his vision for the Helix, a legacy project that will advance New Jersey's reputation as a national leader for innovation. And his support has been critical in enabling Rutgers to win large federal grants like NJAPS. Now, Governor, when we first met, before I was publicly announced, after you gave the State of the State, you talked about how much every dollar invested in Rutgers returns to the state. I just want to remind you of that. And just so you know, this part's not in the script, but I'm stepping down. So just watch out. Anyway, Governor Murphy, I think we have held up our end of the deal, and you have as well. Thank you for being a constant partner with Rutgers in advancing its excellence and ensuring that it serves New Jersey in all the ways a great state university should. I'm pleased to introduce the 56th Governor of New Jersey, Phil Murphy.
Jonathan, your ad-libs have become world-class. I just want to deep thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. Deep thanks for your very gracious introduction. It's great to be back in the healthcare city to celebrate another leap forward in our efforts to improve the health and wellness of New Jersey. So hello, Joe.
Hey, no problem.
I'm great. This is the first chance I've had to be in public with Jonathan since he made his announcement that this would be his gun lap, as it were, as president of this university. And I want to say publicly and unequivocally, he has done a phenomenal job leading Rutgers. No doubt, and plenty of time to celebrate that, and you've left some very big shoes to fill. I also want to thank Brian. Thank you. You said most of what I was going to say, and I apologize. I have to speak and leave, but you've helped me with my clock at a minimum. But it's great to be with you and the whole team at Rutgers Health. Likewise to Mark Manigan and his team at RWJ Barnabas, and the entire NJ-ACS research and clinician community. And I know we're going to hear from Drs. Panettiere and Hudson. I also want to acknowledge some outstanding elected officials with us today. We have Senator Bob Smith, the Speaker of the General Assembly, Craig Coughlin, Assemblyman Joe Danielson, as was mentioned, Chairwoman of the Board, Amy Towers, Board Member Gary Taffet. Manigan wears two hats. He's also on the Board of Rutgers. And to each and every one of the clergy and distinguished guests, incredibly honored to be with you. So building a stronger, healthier New Jersey requires a team effort. And we are so lucky, if you just listen to the list of organizations and names I just read, we are so lucky to have the very best team with which to do it. And I thank you all for everything you do. So for 5 years now, the New Jersey Alliance for Clinical and Translational Science, or otherwise known as NJ-ACS, has brought together the very best minds, as Brian said, at Rutgers, Princeton, NJIT, RWJ, Barnabas Health, and others, to empower joint research teams to tackle the big problems facing our world. And with our state system of world-class universities, medical schools, innovators, life science industry leaders, the best minds in New Jersey are truly some of the best minds anywhere in the world. After all, it was New Jerseyans who discovered modern medical miracles like immunotherapy or the cure for Hep C. It was New Jerseyans who designed the first ever approved CAR T cell therapy and 3D printed drug. And just last year, it was New Jersey associated companies that accounted for, you ready for this? More than 50% of all FDA novel drug approvals. But our state's proud legacy of innovation is not just part of our history, it is very much part of our future. And that is why I am impressed, but at the same time not at all surprised, that NJ-ACS has so quickly emerged as a trailblazer in rapidly translating advanced research into practical patient care. Your research projects cover everything from studying childhood asthma to assessing environmental toxics to preventing maternal mortality. By the way, First Lady sends her very best. She wanted to be with us today, could not. She's on the interim list, and so much more. In short order, NJ-ACS affiliated institutions have already touched the lives by their sense and ours of more than 80% of New Jersey residents. Indeed, we received a crash course in just how important NJ-ACS is to the health of our communities when just literally months into the program's existence, the COVID-19 pandemic broke out. Your team worked at a breakneck pace to help secure the first FDA emergency authorization of nasal swab tests, and to ensure, I might add at the same time, that vulnerable populations across the state had equitable access to testing tools. Your nation-leading recruitment efforts for vaccine trials were also key to the historic and unprecedented development of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine, which saved lives around the globe. Charlie Kenny, is that you? It is. Middlesex County Commission. I didn't see you, Charlie.
Sure.
I apologize. We should get caught up at some point, but probably not now.
I got Deputy Director Nara.
Who's with you?
Director Nara.
Santi.
Yeah.
Santi Nara's here. Nice to see you both. We should also get caught up. In every crisis and in every area of clinical development, NJAX has accumulated a track record of excellence. And that is why, after receiving first of its kind funding from the National Institute of Health in 2019, this program is receiving yet another investment, as Brian mentioned, of tens of millions of dollars to empower this great coalition to do any further. And that number, as you suggested, only grows from here. Once you're in, you're in. And thank God we're in. Let's talk about a different door, Jonathan. Let's shut the door and don't let anyone else in. Over the next 7 years, this funding will enable NJAX to expand its focus, including putting opioid overdose prevention into practice and utilizing machine learning projects and generative artificial intelligence to combat health inequities and improve patient outcomes. Each one of these initiatives is near and dear to my heart, as well as to the work of our administration. And so much of this new generation of discovery will take place at the Helix, right here in New Brunswick, one of the many state-of-the-art hubs for innovation that our administration has helped launch. And I want to give Chris Palladino and his colleagues at DevCo, as well as, I don't think Jim Cahill, our great mayor, is with us, but give him a shout out in absentia. These new innovation hubs, and we have a bunch, by the way, very happy to talk you through all of them, like the Helix, or another example I'll use is the New Jersey AI Hub, which is a joint venture with Princeton University. Each of these are empowering our state's students to tap into the very best resources and to collaborate with our most venerated research institutions like Rutgers, like Princeton, and soon, by the way, in the Helix, we will have Bell Labs. And Bell Labs, I'm very proud to say, did a global search of where they should replant their flag, and they landed right here, right where they started in New Jersey, in this case, in New Brunswick. And the success we've already seen with projects like NJAX, which thrives itself on a collaborative model for innovation, is proof that the Garden State will remain an engine for game-changing innovation for generations to come. We're talking today about research that leads to better outcomes, better patient outcomes, which is essential and is job number one. But I would be remiss if I also did not add that job number, 2 or 3 is an economic development a notion here. When you look at the history of man and these institutions like the Helix or like Bell Labs many decades before it, among other good things that come out of these organizations, in addition to extraordinary research, and in this case, better outcomes, more equitable outcomes, is they spin off commercial success as well. And I would be lying to you if that was not on the list of reasons why I'm as excited about this as I am. I could not be more grateful to have so many bright partners working alongside us in achieving this mission, and for everything you do to ensure that our healthcare system serves the needs not just of some or most, but every New Jerseyan, and treats them with dignity they deserve. I thank you. And as my good friend and partner in service in New Jersey, Senator Cory Booker, has said, one of my favorite quotes, "Rugged individualism didn't defeat the British, it didn't get us to the moon, build our nation's highways, or map the human genome. We did all of that together." And this celebration today is as good an example of that as any I know. And all the tremendous achievements NJAX has already achieved, and we did all that together. And so let's keep working together to build a brighter future for every New Jerseyan. Keep up the great work, everybody. I'm incredibly honored that you'd have me with you today, and I apologize again that I got to speak out. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. It's a privilege to introduce someone who's been a steadfast champion for New Jersey's well-being, Speaker Craig Coughlin. Speaker Coughlin's dedication to public service and his leadership in the Assembly have been pivotal in driving economic growth and improving the quality of life for all New Jerseyans. His support has helped foster policies that not only benefit patient care, health care, but also promote economic opportunities across the state, ensuring that initiatives like ours have the resources and backing to thrive. So please join me again in welcoming the Speaker Coughlin.
I didn't mean to step on the introduction. And I thank you all for letting me be here to see if there's anybody in the audience I need to catch up with. Say hello. Thank you all for letting me be with you for a couple of minutes. And Dr. Holloway, let me echo the sentiments of the Governor when I say thank you for what you have done for Rutgers. Thank you for the incredible work that you have, and we will miss you and wish you every success in whatever's next. We know it will be something special, and we'll all have benefited from the privilege of having you here to work and serve with us. So thank you. Good luck. What we're really celebrating today here is the culmination of years of hard work from world-class scientists, doctors, researchers, and their teams. It's also a chance for us to celebrate what makes our state, and I'm a little parochial here, especially Central Jersey, such an amazing place. Any state in any region would be blessed to have just one of the institutions represented here. But we have gone beyond that. Not only do we have an embarrassment of riches in higher education, in healthcare, pharmaceutical, and medical research, we've fostered a collaborative environment where everyone is working together. Think about that. Think of the list of people who are working together. Princeton, and Rutgers, RWJ, and all of the other institutions which have come together for the greater good. That's something really, truly special, and I don't think it's something you see very often. All of them, while delivering cutting-edge research and healthcare. In my time as the Speaker, I've been proud to work with all of you and to deliver state investments in these efforts. What we've demonstrated is that the return on investment is almost incalculable for the work that you have done. The Governor alluded to it before. Every dollar that we invest in Rutgers returns to the states. And by the way, don't want you to get excited. It's not budget time yet, so you don't have to ask. I see Amy saying, "Oh, yeah, then I'm going to note that." October 30th, talked about investment. Gary did on me every day. So be it the growth of economic or enrichment of scholarship and research, and of course the life-saving work and advances that you have made right here. It is truly something special. The Helix is a terrific example of that. You know, our state budget and the grants that it is received through the State Economic Development Authority have been essential to its development. And it truly is a special place, a model for the future of what we can do. And local leaders like Mayor Cahill, I guess isn't here, but it's just any of you who know him know what a tremendous mayor and terrific guy that he is. And along with Chris Palladino, who is a leader in developing and moving this kind of things along in a meaningful way, not just here in central New Jersey. Every once in a while, we let him go throughout the state to make them better. But Chris, for all that you have done and all you continue to do, and to your team, thank you for that. And thank you to the Rutgers team for all the great work that they have done. You have helped make a real vision a reality. And now here we are, amidst an unprecedented era of growth in the region, with an exciting opportunity in innovation industry and a well-trained workforce ready to change. It's part of a larger story. From pre-K to postdoc, we've made investments to develop the skills and the talents of students right here, and to recruit the most brilliant minds and scholars from around the world. And let me take a second to thank the men and women who are often overlooked during these times like this, but who have stepped up to shoulder the burden of bringing all of the Helix and all of that together, the men and women of labor, who work each and every day, sometimes in dangerous situations, oftentimes in weather not as beautiful as today, to make sure that the skyline that we're building and the city that is growing from here is something proud of for the future. It all happens right here in central New Jersey because those investments have brought you all together in this special place at this remarkable time. And the renewal of the NJAX grant is something that demonstrates that and is living proof of what we can do when we do work together. So many investments will be, so many people will be touched by the work that will be done here, and I'm proud to have been just the tiniest part of all of that. So congratulations to the institution, to the scholars, the researchers, and everyone who helped make this a reality. Thank you for letting me be with you today. It's a great privilege. Thank you.
And next, I'm honored to introduce Senator Bob Smith. Senator Smith has been a vital advocate for New Jersey, representing the 17th Legislative District, which includes New Brunswick. His steadfast commitment to environmental protection, education, and healthcare access has made a meaningful difference for communities across the state. As a longtime friend to Rutgers, Senator Smith has supported key initiatives that strengthen our research, teaching, and healthcare mission. Please join me in welcoming Senator Bob Smith.
So my mind says, just say, like they just said. And brevity is the soul of wit. It's my pleasure to be your state senator, New Brunswick, North Brunswick, a whole bunch of towns in this area are in our jurisdiction. I'm lucky to have a partner like Joe Danielson and Kelly Egan. And we are the Rutgers, Robert Wood Johnson Medical School Senators. Right? We want to do whatever we can to make your job easier, fully funded, and you doing the things that you do best, which is helping people to live longer and healthier with a better quality of life. Whatever we can do. And by the way, I'm going to be Captain Obvious. At $50 million, very nice, but you do so much. And there's all kinds of money that you bring into our medical professional research in this area. We now, I believe, are one of the finest medical research locations, not in New Jersey, not in the United States of America, but on the planet Earth. Do you agree? As has been acknowledged, the local officials in this town have been magnificent. Mayor Cahill, Mr. Palladino from DevCo. The easy part, maybe, is getting the money. The hard part is the real estate, the transactions, the easements, the banking, the funding, and the planning. New Brunswick is now a premier location in the entire world because of their good planning and their good efforts. And now you're going to take that money and make it a healthier world. So God bless you. And if there's anything Smith, Danielson, or Egan can do for you, you have that to call.
It's my pleasure next to introduce Mark Manigan, President and CEO of RWJ Barnabas Health, one of our most vital partners. The partnership with Rutgers Health and RWJ Barnabas Health is integral to our success. From the time our two institutions signed our master affiliation agreement in 2018, we have shared the vision of creating a world-class academic health center that is nationally recognized for its education, research, clinical care, and commitment to improving access to health care and reducing health disparities among the residents of New Jersey. Without the strong collaboration with RWJ Barnabas Health, we wouldn't be able to deliver on our mission of translating groundbreaking research into clinical care that truly improves lives locally and across the state. Mark's leadership has been essential in fostering this collaboration, and we're grateful for his continued support. Please join me in welcoming Mark Manigan.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Brian, for that kind introduction. It is an incredible privilege for me to be here today. on behalf of my 41,000 colleagues at RWJ Barnabas Health, and to congratulate our dear partner, Rutgers University, on this transformational grant. I'm delighted to join Governor Murphy, Speaker Coughlin, Senator Smith, Assemblyman Danielson, a couple of my colleagues on the Rutgers Board of Governors, Gary Taffet, our new chair, Amy Towers, and I want to thank all of you for your unwavering support, not only Rutgers, but the Rutgers RWJ Health Partnership. This special partnership through which almost half of New Jerseyans have received health care. And irrespective, that care is delivered irrespective of the color, creed, race, religion, insurance coverage status, or ability to pay patients we treat. Grants like this validate the intended purpose of the partnership and our collective mission to build and sustain a healthier New Jersey. We do this together through a three-pronged approach. First, by focusing on the social determinants of health, economic opportunity, food insecurity, housing for the homeless, because as we know, 80% of a person's health status is determined by those social factors. Second, through a full-throttled commitment to academic medicine through our partnership with Rutgers, where we not only advance science and innovation through research, but also educate and train the clinicians who will take care of future New Jerseyans. Third, by taking care of the sick and injured through the state's largest clinical platform, where we translate the innovation that occurs every day through grants like this at Rutgers to our patients at the bedside, creating access to cutting-edge therapies in clinical trials, whether those patients are in Jersey City, Livingston, Newark, Long Branch, Elizabeth, Toms River, you name it. Not to mention, this has been touched on a few times already, the enormous economic engine that this grant supports, with the two institutions combined, Rutgers and RWJ Barnabas Health, employing close to 70,000 New Jerseyans. Institutional support like this also adds to the luster of what we're building together here at Rutgers. And it helps us recruit and retain nationally recognized clinicians and scientists who will continue to distinguish New Jersey and our partnership as a national center for healthcare excellence and scientific innovation. Thank you all for this incredible work. Keep up the great work, my team at Rutgers. And now we're going to hear from the people who actually figured this all out and did the work. So I'll be back to my seat. Thank you so much.
So as Mark said, now we hear from the people who actually did the work. I'm happy to introduce Dr. Ray Panettiere. Reynolds? I guess I don't know his name. He's Ray. Founder and director of NJAX and Vice Chancellor for Translational Medicine and Science at Rutgers Health. Dr. Panettiere is a renowned expert in airway biology, inflammation, and translational medicine with a distinguished career dedicated to improving health outcomes through research and community engagement. Along with Dr. Shauna Hudson, who you will hear from shortly, he's at the heart of the NJAX initiative, leading its vision, concept, and success. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Ray Panettiere.
Well, you know, it's just wonderful to hear these wonderful, kind words from the governor, from the president, from the chancellor. But what's most important is in the audience, the number of people who contributed to this success. It's not one, it's not two, it's a village. And it's not only Rutgers, it's the team science that sits at NJIT, Princeton, our health system, and Rutgers. That is really an extraordinary resource, a resource that is built to stand. Now, when we talk about translational research, people will say, well, I didn't know you were into linguistics. I said, hey, it's not linguistics. It's very simple. And this is a complicated slide. I put it up there so you're looking at that, not listening to me. But it's discovery, practice, the policy. Discovery, the practice, the policy. That's what NJAX does. It finds things in the bench in a petri dish, but it interprets it to patients, going to the community to ask what's important, and then going to Trenton to change the policy. That is fundamentally what NJAX is. But we keep our eye on something the governor actually highlighted. We want to take academic assets, commercialize them for sustainability, because grants come and go. But will NJX sustain itself through the commercialization of assets? That will set New Jersey apart. Now, we're focusing on dissemination and implementation science, and I have a fantastic co-director, associate director, who's going to talk about that and what that means. These bubbles represent the interaction amongst everyone who participates in NJX. And I know your unit, your school, your university, our health system is shown here. It's through that interdigitation, that energy that drives discovery to practice to policy. Now, what did you do in the last 5 years, Penn and Terry? Well, you know, I answered Strong's emails. And that's quite a task. We established, through an unbelievable informatics collaboration, a clinical research data warehouse that marshals the databases that are huge in millions of individuals and access to individuals and investigators. That is now started and is incredibly exciting. We built a pilot program. This pilot program supported $640,000 a year in imaginative science that springboards into R01s and further NIH grants. We developed a micro-credentialing and badging program whose one program, the Citizen Scientist program, went to the community, engaged them in research, and they wanted more. They wanted credentialing and competence in research to be our ambassadors in the community. What a wonderful, wonderful aspect. It's a network of networks. You're going to hear about that. We had a biomarker core that was the National Pediatric Recovery Program core for long COVID in pediatrics. That's incredibly distinguishing. We created a novel clinical trials office. This trials office is soup to nuts in the devising of, executing, and following patients with a variety of diseases. We supported the career development of 12 new investigators. These are faculty, 12. 19 pre-docs, 13 postdocs, and we assisted in something that the First Lady is very passionate about, and that is maternal pediatric care, and developed a cohort working with CAB in that initiative. Now, what was known is we got our first dollar from NIH 3 months before a world pandemic hit. So, first, make it difficult, Pat, to get a grant. All right, we got the grant. You know what we're going to do? We're going to have a world global pandemic that's going to shut down the entire operation. Now what are you going to do? Well, what we did is we pivoted all these cores that I just mentioned to build a cohort of healthcare workers in COVID that was 5,000. A community-based program enrolling 5,000 individuals in vulnerable populations to get tested. That was done in 6 months with a complete pivot of everything that we plan to do to meet the needs of New Jersey. So, what are you going to do in the next 7 years? Well, we are going to be impactful by taking that translational science to a next step. We are going to test pathways for development, pathway A, pathway B, so that this becomes generalized in an approach disease agnostically to improve care. Pilots will focus on this approach. We now have a robust project development program that goes from pilots to a second larger program and on to R01 equivalents. And our career development will include pre-docs, postdocs, as well as junior faculty. Also, the R25 grant, a very exciting grant will focus on PharmD and medical students in engagement in translational research. So we have a lot to do, but what I'd like to now share the podium with my Associate Director, Shauna Hudson, Vice Chancellor for Dissemination and Implementation Science. Shauna.
So Ray is always a hard act to follow because he moves and he does all of these other things. I am going to channel my inner sociologist today and talk a little bit about what excites me about this. So I am a sociologist by training, but my faculty appointment is in our medical school. And I think one of the exciting things about all of what you've seen for NJAX is the ability to move the science from the basic out into the bedside and then out into the community. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the work that we have been doing with the community engagement, and also it's going to be my distinct pleasure to actually introduce two of our community partners. So what I want to do, Ray's shown you some lovely slides about all the exciting things, and we've heard about all of the technical pieces of this. But for me, what I'd like to really focus in on is what we do and what's really at the heart of all of this work. And for me, that's really the people that we serve, the communities that we serve, and the individuals that are within our healthcare systems, that are patients, that are actually serving the public. So what I wanted to do is to talk a little bit about our community engagement strategy. So for us, the definition of community is really very broad and very inclusive. And so when I talk about community and when we talk about community within the NJAX family, we're really thinking about patients, we're thinking about individuals within their individual communities, we're talking about patient advocates, we're talking about people who work in the healthcare system, and our healthcare policymakers, so many of you out in the audience today. And so what we really did in this first act of New Jersey NJAX was to develop some very strong relationships and partnerships. Rutgers, NJIT, and Princeton already had a footprint in the communities. And as Ray said, we came in just at the beginning of a pandemic. So really what we were tasked with doing was trying to figure out what is the local talent that we have, how do we pull all of that together, and then how do we work together to address really catastrophic problems that were happening at the time. And so we put together the NJ Heroes study, our community partners, we engaged over 25 of them. We also had our healthcare system, so Barnabas and others in the room with us, and we were able to do, as Ray talked about, within 6 months, get to over 5,000 people who wanted to get testing and then actually get them through the process of being able to get access to testing. That particular project was one that was highlighted nationally as the way that we should really be thinking about and approaching research with the community, because we had some major tenets that we were focused on. And those tenets were really about how do you think about community representation, how do we foster trust, how do we build relationships, and most importantly, not just build them, but sustain them over time. So it's not enough to go in and do it once. It's what we need to do is to stay there and to be there for the long haul. So what I want to do is just to tell you a little bit about what we are looking to do as we move forward here. So as we're thinking about NJAX in the next 7 years, we have 4 major things that we are focused on in terms of the work that we are doing. The first is we really want to make sure that the issues that we're addressing are really around elevating our community's healthcare priorities. And so we started out with a pandemic, and so that was really easy because it was front and center for everyone. But as we move forward, we're now looking at maternal and child health, we're looking at healthcare disparities, we're looking at health equity issues across the board, and those are really the foci of where we want to go with this science. In addition, we also want to make sure that people have access to really strong health systems that are implementing quality care and are actually doing QI processes that are really rapid. And so one of the things we've been able to do within the last year is to partner and to be able to get additional. So think of that Christmas tree. So we have the Christmas tree. We just got a really nice ornament, which is our LHS Star and J program, which is a learning health system project that allows us to train scholars to think about how do you do rapid cycle improvements within the health system so that we don't have to wait the 17 years for a research project to get into the community. We actually are going to see some of those changes happening in real time within the Barnabas system and across all of the others. In addition to that, we are really excited about training and dissemination and implementation really means we're getting things out into the community and getting things out to our partners. And so we're going to be thinking about how do we actually train our study teams to talk to people in ways that you as healthcare policy wonks understand and that are able to translate and talk about what it is that we do. And then finally, we are really focused on using best practice engagement strategies. So we want to make sure that when we are talking about studies that people understand what we're saying, that they understand the goals of that work, and that they actually are part of the entire process. So again, involving people from the beginning and involving all of you as we go along this journey. So I want to just close by saying that we have a real commitment to fostering how we promote health equity and thinking about doing it through really realistic and systematic, rigorous science, and that goes across that entire spectrum. So the science is a science of engagement, it's also a science of discovery, and then how do we then translate and move that forward? We're really focused on making sure that our community is empowered and that we are hearing what their thoughts are and that that's part of our translational discussion as we go back and forth. And lastly, it's really about bi-directional teaching and learning. So not only are we bringing discoveries out into the community, but we are also learning from you. And so we are really excited about that journey. So I just want to conclude by saying that our community and our researchers are a very powerful combination. And collectively, we are really driving solutions and innovation together to address health equity. And so with that, I am actually very excited to bring up two speakers, and I'm going to introduce them first and then second. So both of them have been partners on our New Jersey Heroes studies. And so Deacon Franson Dixon is the Executive Director of the New Hope Now Community Development Corporation. He's going to share some words with us, followed by Jamie Santiago, who is President of New Brunswick Tomorrow. So with that,
good afternoon, and I'm excited to be here. I didn't realize there was this many people in the room. Put me up front, you won't put me in the back. But I heard a couple things that Dr. Shanna shared with us, that Dr. Ray and I had a conversation about retirement. It doesn't seem like that's coming anytime soon for any of us. But I'm excited to be here, excited to be part of the community outreach team. We've been doing community outreach at the New Hope Baptist Church for over 30, 40 years. But with the invitation to be part of the Heroes Project and some of the other work that's being done has given us a revitalization in the work that we do. Short story, I don't know Dr. Strom if it was 14 or 15 years ago. I do know it was a Thursday night. We hosted a community talk with Dr. Strom. He had just got in town and he wanted to meet some of the community workers, some of the organizations, and he came down with I don't know how many folks you had with you. We had enough chairs, but I don't know, Doc, how many folks you had with you. But that night was memorable because although we had been doing a lot of work, a lot of community work, feeding people, sending folks to rehab, welcoming folks in from their stint in incarcerations. The opportunity to hear from Dr. Strong about some of the things that he wanted to do community-wise. He made promises, and he kept promises, and I thank you for that. Shortly thereafter, I had the opportunity to meet Dr. Hill. Dr. Hill has become a fast friend. She was definitely at that meeting. She became a fast friend and a confidant. We collaborated, it's been collaborations with you and I for the last 14, 15 years. It's been a real treat. We've done everything from nutrition programs to health projects, senior issues, youth issues, and quite candidly, Doc, I'll say this publicly, you have been a mentor, you have been help not just to myself, but to the results of the work that we do within our church and within the community. We boasted at that time when we first began this relationship between our feeding program and the other initiatives that we had. We served roughly about 1,000 people a week. Once we got involved with Rutgers in our other relationships, initiatives, we were maybe 1,500 individuals, various parts of the projects that we were working on. And we were glad to be involved because it was giving us the opportunity to do what, not just as what the church is called to do, but as the community is calling the church to do. And we were able to sustain that through this partnership, and we continue on now to the Heroes program. I had this all scripted, but everybody else that got up kind of walked all over my little script. But by the time we got to the Heroes project, and I don't know who made the decision to couple Dr. Hill and Dr. Hudson together, but it was a stroke of genius. They executed, implemented that program in a way that I had not seen before. It was a lot of work, but it was work, as Dr. Ray talked about, that was enjoyable. Now, the sad part was that there was a pandemic, and there were people who were getting sick, and unfortunately, people who were dying. And we did what we believed the most that we could do to leverage that sickness and certainly to leverage the mortality of it. But between Dr. Hudson and Dr. Hill, I would ask that somebody please nominate them to please be on the staff of the New York Yankees. Thank you.
Man, I gotta follow a preacher. Deacon Dixon, wow. Well, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jamie Santiago, President and CEO of New Brunswick Tomorrow, a nonprofit here in this city, in the hub city, improving lives for everyone that calls this place home. I'm thrilled to be here with all of you celebrating this award. New Brunswick Tomorrow has had a long-standing partnership with Rutgers, with NJX, with RWJ Barnabas. As a community advisory role, we help shape a lot of what's happening, not just here in this city, but using that as a model to expand across the state. We're devoted to advancing comprehensive, equity-promoting policies to ensure everyone has a fair and just opportunity to live their healthiest life possible. So through our work, beginning with the Heroes Project, which you're hearing quite a bit about, was a study focused on Black and Latinx communities disproportionately affected by COVID-19 to understand and improve the systems that created disparities in COVID-19 testing. And as an aside, when the first numbers came out around COVID-19, Brunswick was at the very bottom of the COVID testing list, and within a month or two, we shot up to the top. And a lot of that had to do with our ability to engage our communities, not just as an organization, but in partnership with many people around this room and many partners around the city. So we're extremely proud of that. Heroes gave us kind of an opportunity, an open door that we can walk through, and what seemed very academic on the surface was truly transformative for our communities. We saw, by the way, our communities, which are predominantly immigrant, Hispanic, and Black communities, so the most effective. So we saw a moment turn into a movement where academic interests were integrated fully into community engagement strategies. And that's just it. The push from engagement to integration made us all active and equal partners in the fight to improve our lives. At that time, it was COVID-19, but today we're having conversations across an array of issues. So researchers like my dear friends, Dr. Hudson and Dr. Hill, and I can't shout you guys out enough, walked alongside us, adjusted their community responses, and gave deference to lived experience. So we love that. We love the partnership that we've created, and it didn't stop there. Today we have grants that have this sense of community baked into its ethos with a commitment to capital C, community. So I, for one, am grateful for all of you who have joined together to support each other in this work. And I'm looking ahead, we're going to keep this going, making New Jersey, starting right here in New Brunswick, a place where everyone can thrive. Upwards and onwards. Thank you, everybody.
As we approach the closing, I wanted to say a couple of things off script and in addition to the script. Firstly, for those people here who are from NJAX, I hope you realize the import of what you're doing, the impact of what you're doing, and how much everybody in the state appreciates what you're doing and seeing what this is motivated. For those who are from the leadership, you see what's going to happen over the next 7 years. And the enormous impact that these funds have, and the enormous impact that your support has. You'll see pictures on the side of the future of the helix, the Rutgers Health Building going up on the helix, along with the other buildings going up on the helix as well. And the slide showing there before. This is a very exciting time, a very exciting 7 years going forward, and you get a little bit of a taste of the atmosphere and the lack of energy out of it. Very low energy. So as we conclude today's program, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who's contributed to this remarkable effort. Together, we're not only advancing scientific research, but also creating positive change to benefit the people of New Jersey. Thank you for your dedication and for being here to celebrate this important milestone. A special thanks to the ARCOM team who helped organize this event. Now please make your way downstairs, one floor down, to our reception to enjoy food and beverages together. Thank you all.